All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Today is Monday, January 31st. This is the 9:30 a.m. section. Recording is on. Primarily what we're going to do today is we're going to set up your first group project, which is the Bloomberg trading competition. And so that means you need to be in teams to be on the group project, and I've already set you into teams. So if you go to let's see, Elms, and you go to people, there is a folder under people called Team Projects. This is section 201. And so you're going to be on one of these 6 teams, 2011 through 2016. All right, so I'm just going to click out the arrow. And these are going to be your team projects for half your grade this semester, including the first team project, which starts today, which is the Bloomberg Trading Challenge. So I'm going to kind of introduce the Bloomberg Trading Challenge here now. And then in a few minutes, I'm going to ask each of these teams to give me their sort of team captain, or the one person on your team who's going to be able to access the Bloomberg Trading Challenge. Now, this person's going to be very important because they will be the only person who can access the Bloomberg Trading Challenge. No one else on your team will be able to access it. And they will, for the rest of the semester, be responsible for that 10% of your grade. They're going to do all the trading and all of the managing of the portfolio on behalf of that team. So you need to be a responsible person to kind of do that, because if you're not in there and doing something, nobody else in your team will be able to do it in your place. So, because it's tied to your individual Bloomberg account, right? So after as I said, I introduced the Bloomberg Trading Challenge. I'm going to ask each of the 6 teams to name who their team captain is. I'm going to register you on the spot for the Bloomberg Trading Challenge and then launch the competition. I'm not going to put you into Zoom rooms. So if you want, you can start IM amongst yourselves if you want to try and meet your team members and or figure out who is that responsible party. Okay? So what is the Bloomberg Trading Challenge? Go ahead and share my Bloomberg terminal. All right. So Bloomberg has given us sort of something that's actually very nice. They do the Bloomberg Trading Challenge across universities, but because of our license, they've given us the ability to have the trading challenge within our school. We're one of the very few schools that they allow to do that, right? They've given me administrative privileges to set up the trading challenge. If you're given permission, and if you're not given permission, you can't get here, there's 2 ways to get to the trading challenge. You either type in idea to get to the trading challenge, or you can type in TMSG, trade ideas. So that's the 2 ways that you can get to the trading challenge screen. And when you get to the trading challenge screen, it looks something like this. And specifically, there's a drop down called launch. And this is something you'll have to do every time to select your portfolio. Now, as the administrator, I can see many trading challenges historically, including what's going on this semester. You won't be able to, you'll only be able to see your section's trading challenge. But again, you'll have to select it to see the screen. Now, I'll give you an example of last semester's 201 section. Okay, so these are 5 of the teams that were in section 201. And you can see their longs and shorts over the course of the semester. This is the second half of the semester. And the way that they were scored was on portfolio value. The team with the highest portfolio value was in first place. The team with the lowest portfolio value was in last place. And this competition ended in December 2021. Now, a little over a month and a half ago. And you can see that these portfolios have continued, and the market's been pretty brutal in the last 30 or so days. And you can see these portfolios have all taken a hit. In fact, this one team ended up down 32%. Okay. So in the trading competition, if we would score you, we'd score you on relative performance, portfolio value. So this team would have gotten first place, losing the least, 5 points, 4, 3, 2, 1 point for this half of the semester, right? Now, when you're on a team, like let's say you're on this team that lost 32%, you can then click on your team and see information about the 12 trades, right? So these are the 12 companies that this team owned. And you can see, where they got really brutalized. They lost 53% of their performance in a company called Square. They lost 57%, who's NET? Cloudflare. They lost 43% in Shopify. So basically, they bet on a lot of tech companies, and the tech industry has taken a really hard hit. And so as a result, well, you can see their portfolio is down 32%. All right. Now, very important. Let's say that you wanted to get out of one of these positions, eject on my Square position. Then over here, your team captain, the circle red X, and it's called an idea in Bloomberg parlance, which means the stock. And you can either close the idea, which means sell your stock, or you can open an idea, which means buy a stock. All right. And so basically, if I want to sell all of my Square, I'll click on this red circle X, a menu will pop up and it will allow me to sell all of my shares of stock. Now, when you sell the stock, it literally sells all of them. You can't just say sell 100 shares. It'll sell all the shares that you had previously bought. Okay. So again, this is your portfolio view, what it would look like, showing you real-time performance, particularly when the market's open. And again, this is where you sell your stock. Now, when I do set you up, your team captain will only see your name, and you'll only be able to go into your trades. All right, so if you see this team that made 84 trades, you won't be able to see their 84 trades, okay? I can see all of you because I'm the administrator, but what you would see for these other teams, if you were Jay Marquez, is you would just see X's here, and you'd see the amount of trades in the portfolio, but you wouldn't actually be able to click on this to see anything else, and you wouldn't see their names. Now, from time to time, just so you can see who exactly you're competing against, I will come in during class and show you how you're doing, but nonetheless, you will only be able to see your own team after selecting your section from the drop-down menu. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically clone this as an empty network. So I'm going to start your competition for section 201 with every team starting with $1 million. And you're going to have $1 million now. You're going to trade for 6 weeks. We'll keep score. And then in 6 more weeks, we'll reset this and give everybody $1 million again. So when I continue, I'm going to wipe these people out. And this is going to be UMD 201 fall 2022 first half. Okay, so that's going to be your drop down, spring. Let's track semesters here. Spring 2022 first half. Okay. And again, in just a few minutes, I'm going to ask for each of your team members that is going to be your team captain. I'm going to register them for the competition right here on the screen. All right. Let me go ahead and create this, they call network. So the competition for this section is now live. And let me talk to you about the rules. Okay. So there are some important trading rules that you should be aware of. You can find the rules under settings if you want to refresh. Now, you won't be able to see the rules like I do because I'm the administrator because I set the rules, but you can at least see them in read-only view. So what are some of the rules about the trading competition? First, it's an equity competition, which means you can only trade equities, right? So that means stocks, mutual funds, ETFs, okay? So Bloomberg, because this is a real tool, you're going to trade through Bloomberg, could trade anything. Trade bonds, could trade commodities, currencies, crypto, etc. All of that disabled. The only thing that's available in your equity trading competition is equity. Okay, so that's the first thing. Second idea, which are the stock restrictions, you're going to buy and sell equities at the next tick, which basically means the market price. So whatever the market price is, that's going to be where you buy and sell your stock. Okay? And because it's a real trading simulation tied to the actual Bloomberg, instead of dollars, just fictitious, but it's going to actually buy based on the actual lots. So when you actually put in a trade, Bloomberg's going to try and match the actual lots, the bids and the asks, with the shares of stock that you're trying to buy or sell. I only say that because how long it takes to execute the trade, if you try and put a lot of money into a thinly traded stock, it may not execute immediately because it's got to actually find the actual buyers or sellers of that thinly traded stock. All right, so I just want to make everybody aware of this. By Apple, not going to be a problem. By some tiny company, could be an issue. All right, so next tick. Second, you have to put in a 50-character rationale for why you're buying or selling your stock. Right, so that's the point. At the end of the semester, I used to make everybody do a write-up of all of their trades. And then they kind of forgot why they did all their trades. It was kind of a pain for everybody. So now you have to write the reason why you're buying or selling when you execute the trade. So that's in lieu of a write-up for the semester. This is your real cost of trading. Now this is 50 characters. That's 1/3 of a tweet. So it doesn't have to be a huge amount of rationale, but you still have to explain your rationale why. Okay? Won't let you trade without it. Next, auto close. I have disabled auto closing. What does that mean? Auto closing means that Bloomberg can actually sell your stock, let's say if it hits a certain loss level or it hits a certain profit level, right? I'm disabling that. So that means, and this is again why your team captain is so critical, basically, if you don't go in and sell it, you keep owning the stock and you're riding it all the way down. So let's say that Peloton continues to come out with even worse news and Peloton stock continues to drop and you own Peloton. Well, guess what? If you don't go in and sell Peloton, you're going to experience all those losses. All right. So Peloton announces horrible news on Monday and your team captain doesn't get around to checking the trading competition until Thursday. Well, your team just lost 4 days worth of profits because the team captain didn't go in there and do anything. Again, that is why the person who you are nominating is so critical, because the only way that you buy and sell stocks is if they go in and buy and sell stocks. Okay? Investment levels. A couple things that matter to your investments. First, you can't put less than $10,000 into a stock. All right, you got $1 million in your portfolio. You need to put at least $10,000 in any investment. Second, you can't put more than 20% of your portfolio into any one company. So let's say I want to bet on Apple. If I have $1 million, I can't put more than $200,000 into Apple, right? So the trading competition won't let you, all right? So it's forcing you to diversify your $1 million into more than one stock. You can't just bet on one company, right? And security restrictions. Now, I am letting you short sell, so you can go short on stocks or you can go long, and I'm not limiting you to a market. So if it's available as an actual equity in Bloomberg, you can buy or sell it, subject to the other trade limits. Trade limit number 1, you cannot invest in a company with less than $500 million of market cap, right? If the stock has less than $500 million worth of market cap, you can't buy it. You also cannot buy a stock that is trading for less than $3 US of stock price, right? Now, if you buy a stock and it goes below 3, you can sell it, but you can't buy it back again until it gets above 3, right? And I did this because a few years ago, one of my students decided to trade, and I guess they saw Wolf of Wall Street, and they wanted to get involved in the pink sheets and basically penny stocks. And that's not the intent of this competition. So I put in these minimums to prevent people from trying to replicate the Wolf of Wall Street. Anyhow, so long story short, you can't trade in penny stocks. and you can't trade in micro caps, minimum $500 million. You can sell anything that goes that low, but you can't buy it. And you can't short it if it's below that amount either. All right. So the other restriction that matters to you is the minimum holding period is 1 day. Translation, I have eliminated day trading from the competition, right? So if you buy a stock today, Monday, you can't sell the stock until tomorrow, Tuesday. If you short a stock today, Monday, you can't actually cover the stock until Tuesday. Okay. So again, competition allows day trading. I've eliminated it. So I've set a minimum time of 1 day, and that's 1 business day for buying or selling a stock. And remember that Bloomberg will only execute trades during business hours. So if you buy a stock at 5 p.m. on Monday, it's actually not going to execute the trade until Tuesday because the market's closed. So there is no after market trading. Okay. Next, you're paying institutional pricing for your purchases. 1 penny per share is the commission. All right. So basically, if you buy 100 shares of stock, you're going to pay $1 in commission. All right. So essentially, it's not going to make a big difference in terms of your overall performance, but nonetheless, you will pay institutional pricing. And finally, you're buying and selling the stock at the next ticker. So again, there is no limit orders for stocks within the trading competition. If you want to buy it, you go buy it at the market price. You want to sell it, you sell at the market price, right? Now, 2 final rules that matter. So go ahead and update this. Two final rules that matter. You have to, by this Friday, end of day, be 70% invested in stocks, which means after Friday, you can't have more than $300,000 of available cash left in your portfolio. If you do, if you have more than $300,000 or 30% of your portfolio in available cash after Friday, your team will be disqualified. You'll all get zeros, and every member of your team will lose out on the ability to opt out of the final exam. Okay. So again, it's a trading competition. If you don't trade, you will be disqualified, and you have to stay in equities the entire semester. So if the market's going down miserably, buy stocks associated with that. Don't just try to keep it in cash, because that violates the spirit of what we're trying to do in this competition. Second, other important final rule that you need to be aware of, beyond the can't have more than 30% cash at any point in time for the rest of the semester after Friday. Okay, so that's the first one. The second one that's going to be very important to you, I'm forgetting it, can't have more than 30% in cash. And minimum 10 longs each half of the semester. Okay. I don't care how many shorts you have, but you got to have at least 10 longs, because if you're not investing in stocks, again, I don't look at this as being actually active in the semester. So minimum 10 longs, which means you got to buy at least 10 stocks in the first half of the semester, or you will be disqualified. Now you can do that all at once today. You could buy 10 different stocks for $100,000 each. Let it ride. Okay? You don't have to change your portfolio once you do your 10 stocks, but you got to at least do 10 longs. Shorts don't count towards your longs, and Bloomberg will keep track of that. Okay? Now, given all those rules, and once you're registered, here's how you trade stocks. Okay? You click on Compose, and that's where you can buy or sell a stock. Now, the last security that you looked at, I was looking at Apple, will already be loaded in here. Now, so if you're doing research on the company, you want to buy them, choose their company name, it will be loaded in. Otherwise, you type in the ticker symbol of the company that you want to buy or sell. And again, if you want to go long, buy the stock, short it, you have 2 choices. They'll give you what the current share price is, the company that you're looking at, right? So let's say that I saw Square and that team took a huge hit over the last few months. Their share price is down to 110. They've lost half their value. So let's say I'm going to buy Square on the rebound. Okay. And there's two classes of shares. So I'm going to buy this one, Square Class A stock. It's trading at 114. It's already up today. And so basically what I'm going to do is this is spring 2022, first half. Now you won't have to select the network. I'm only selecting the network because as the admin, I get to see everybody. You'll only see yours. But then you're going to buy it at the next tick. That's grayed out because you don't have a choice. And then the question is for spring, this is actually section 101. You're in section 201, but I'll use this as an illustrative point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy Square and it'll ask me, I have $400,000 of available cash. You'll have $1 million when you start the competition. So I'm going to put in $250,000, put 250K or 3 zeros into Square. And then when I'm ready to trade, I hit send. Now, it'll tell me whether or not I violated any rules of the competition because it won't actually execute the trade. And so I hit send and I violated 2 rules of the trading competition. Number one, I put in more than 20% or $200,000 of my portfolio in one stock. So it won't let me do that. And number 2, I didn't do my write-up of 50 characters. So it won't let me execute the trade. So number 1, I'm going to change this to 200,000. Number 2, I'm going to come down here and say buying Square on the dip and believe online payment pandemic rebound is coming. All right. So I type in my rationale, hit send, and now it actually does my competition. So it'll submit the trade. Okay. Now, in this case, I bought this in section 101. That's why it's not showing up in this list. So I'm going to go back to my section 101, spring. This is the 8 a.m. section this morning. And you'll see that 2 of the teams have already started their trading. Okay, so until you start trading, you don't show up. But once you start trading, then your $1 million shows up. That's the portfolio value. I've now bought 4 stocks. Okay, so I'm down to $200,000 of available cash. And again, you can start to see the performance of my portfolio in real time. I'm actually up $974 so far today. So if I click on my portfolio, these are the stocks in my portfolio. I made 3 trades this morning in my stocks, and I just did Square, so it hasn't executed yet. Over here on the left, as I showed you, it shows that the order's in progress, and then the circle X is how you sell the stock. So in case you're wondering how you sell the stock, when you see your list of stocks, circle X. But remember, I can't sell the stock until tomorrow because I bought it today. Okay, so I'm up on PayPal today. I'm down on Peloton today. And this JP Morgan ETF is one of the students asked about. I just bought that as an example. But basically, you can see the net of my portfolio return, right? And again, the way that you're going to be judged is the total portfolio value relative to all the other teams in the section. So back here, this is my portfolio. Let's go back to refresh idea. Let's see if my 4th stock, again, you got to choose from the drop down every single time. Section 101, first half. Nope, still hasn't executed my trade stock for Square. So it's tied up to cash over here, but it actually hasn't executed that stock. So it will shortly. Again, it's trying to find $200,000 worth of Square for me in the system. All right, I know that was a long monologue. Questions about any of this in the trading competition?
Yeah, just to clarify, we are allowed to do options, right?
No options, disabled.
Okay, sounds good.
Equities, long equities, short equities, ETFs, mutual funds. That's it. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go back to your section. So we are in 201. Okay. Now here, I'm going to go to networks, manage the network. And here is where I'm going to add your team captains. Okay. I need to add based on the name they registered in Bloomberg. So starting with team 2011, which is Michael, Nathaniel, Wesley, Louisa, Isha, if I'm pronouncing that right, Timothy, Julia, and Casey. Who on your team, and I'm going to do this for every one of the other teams, who on your team is going to be your Bloomberg captain?
I think that we decided it was going to be me.
Who is
Louisa?
me? Louisa? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So Louisa, and did you register as Louisa Gonzalez or your full name?
Full name.
All right. Let's see if we can find you.
I can write it out in the chat if that helps.
Okay. Let's do a quick search. Nope, didn't find that.
I think you missed an A. Luiza. Yep.
Gon Gonzalez. Start searching that way. Aha, it found
There
it.
we go.
Okay, you're there. Great. So now you have access to this. Team 201, 2, which is Logan, Rebecca, Nicole, Ryan, Joseph, Maxton, John, Charles.
I'll do it.
Who's the I?
Logan.
All right, Logan, ABOL. Logan. Great, found you. Team 3, which is Peter, Elaine, Yatong, Christopher, David, Grace, Kavya, Olu Wadamola. Sorry about that. Terrible names. So who is your captain?
We decided on me, Kavya.
Kavya? Kavya?
Yeah, Kavya.
K-A-A. K-A-A-V-Y-A. Have that right? See if it finds you.
Yeah, that's right.
You must be this first one here.
Yeah, the first one.
Got it. All right, you're good. Team 4, Julia, Jacob, Dewey, Sahil, Joshua, Nikhil, Tram, Ann.
I'll be at Nikhil.
Who? Sorry.
Nikhil.
Nikhil. Nikhil.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see if I can. Oh, whoa. Are you this first one?
Second one.
Second one? Sandy? Okay. Great. All right. Team 5, Matthew, Daniel, Navleen, Angela, Ethan, Sean, Tiffany, Matthew.
I can be it.
Who's the I?
Ethan Jenkins.
Jenkins. I assume you must be the first Ethan.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And finally, team 6, Andrew, Ryan, Ibrahim, Tasanti, Kulara, Hunter, Ryan, Kyler.
Hi, we decided for the Gulara one, Gulara.
Kulara. Gulara. See how many Kularas are in Bloomberg. Nope.
Okay, so try Julie, Julie.
Is that the way you registered?
Yeah.
That would be why. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's actually gonna be how you registered in Bloomberg. Julie. It's gonna be a lot of
M.
Julies.
It's Mamadova, M-A.
M-A-A-D-O-V-A.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Aha, there you are. Okay, so when I update this, all 6 of you now have access to the trading challenge. Again, you can get to the screen by typing in idea or TMSG, just two ways to get to the same place. And this is the trading competition. Unfortunately, the rest of your team members won't be able to get to the competition. Okay, so you are now acting on behalf of your team. Again, I would suggest that your team get together very quickly. You can do Zoom meetings or whatever and start talking about how you want to trade, give your suggestions for trading, rules for trading, etc. Because it's going to be a team grade. We don't want these individuals doing 100% of the grade because you will be doing peer reviews this semester. And if your team members say that you didn't participate in the trading competition, you'll get docked 10% of your semester grade. So even if you're not the captain, you still have to help your team manage the trading competition. Okay, they're just the ones that are accessing it on behalf of your team. Now, let's say at the trading competition, you are not the team captain and you want to see how you're doing in your portfolio. If they're not around to share the screen, I'm going to show you two other things that you can do in Bloomberg. So let me go back to 201 or section 101, where I actually had some stocks. Okay, so these are my 3 stocks. 2 things you can do. Number 1, your team captain can go into networks and basically launch in portfolio view. So one of the things you'll learn in your Bloomberg training is one of their features is called the portfolio tool. And what it allows you to do is run simulations on your portfolio. So if you're trying to reallocate a portfolio, Bloomberg will help you reallocate your portfolio. So if you're a hedge fund or a mutual fund and the market has changed and you want to reindex your fund, portfolio tool was set up for you to basically do simulations so you can actually see how you might reallocate your portfolio based on different criteria. Okay, so here, if I click on my holdings, it will retrieve the data for my portfolio and I can track it over time. Now, this is the complicated way, and I actually don't recommend doing it this way. But if you want to take advantage of this, this is the more powerful feature with the Bloomberg, but it's very complex. The other way, which is the more simple way, and the way that I actually recommend you doing it, is using a feature of Bloomberg called Worksheets. They are very powerful. You get to them by typing in W. And here we go. So W or Worksheets. And so what you can do is I already have some worksheets set up, but you can create a new worksheet by just clicking on this create a new worksheet button. And it's going to ask you which template you want to use. All right, so it's got a basic template with just stock prices, commodities, an equity buy side, an equity sell side, which are templates that you might want to use. Or you can go to this performance heat map, just kind of showing you how your stocks have done over some periods of time. So I'll start with the equity sell side. Okay. And then I'll create this. And then it's going to give me this kind of Excel-like view where I just start typing in my ticker symbols. So what I would suggest is you can type in the ticker symbols that are part of your portfolio. Okay, so I bought Apple. I bought PayPal. I bought Square. And I bought Peloton. Okay, so let's say these are the 4 stocks in my Bloomberg trading challenge. Now it'll automatically put them in sectors for you and it'll start filling in this data in real time. Okay, but what's nice about this is 2 things. Number 1, you can save it. Okay, so you can create your own templates. But over here on the right are the news and events. So if the company, Peloton, for example, has M&A news or major news or corporate actions, you can click on it and you get information about your stocks. So for example, there's M&A news about Peloton today. So let's click this and says, Peloton investor Blackwell's trying to convince Peloton to fire the CEO and sell the stock, coming out of the Wall Street Journal. Okay, so again, for better or for worse, they think the guy's an idiot and they've ridden the stock down. So now they're trying to do some M&A here. So again, you just get some news about the stock. Or again, I could see whether or not there's any corporate actions coming up. So for example, Apple's unlikely to buy Peloton, or I could just see company news in general. Now over here is kind of the news heat map. So the more bars, the more news that is happening about the company. So right now, a lot of news articles about Square, there's not any corporate actions, but nonetheless, you can track that information over here. Okay. So again, if you're trying to see what's going on in your portfolio, this is also helpful because through the W, you can also set alerts. So for example, if something happens to one of your stocks, you can be alerted about the news through the worksheet function. So you can't do it through the trading competition. You got to go into the trading competition to trade. But if you do the worksheets, you can actually set the worksheets up to help see what's going on, to help you with the trading competition. And if you want to set up alerts, because it's always going to remember these stock tickers, you can do some analysis on it as well. And the other reason this is important is because of this share button. I can then share this worksheet with my teammates. Just put their Bloomberg names in here. And when I update this, they will see the same worksheet that I do. Okay. So if someone on your team creates a worksheet, share it. Others can see that by going to the worksheets, and you can see the shared worksheets. So for example, if your team captain just keeps track of all the trades they made in the worksheets and shares that with the team, then the team can actually be kept up to date on everything that's going on with your portfolio. Okay. So this is W, also known as worksheets, much more easy to use than the portfolio tool. And this is what I'd recommend you guys do for sharing information. Questions about any of that?
I have a quick question.
Mhm.
So for the like template, worksheet template that you chose, do you recommend the one that you chose? It was like equity sell side, I think.
Well, the reason why I like the equity sell side is because default, it comes over here and it has the news and events. And it kind of gives me the basics for the analyst rating. But here's a nice part of Bloomberg is that I can come in here to edit and I can create all sorts of things on this template. So if I want to add more fields, rows and columns, I can add that in here as well. So I can create my own version of the template if I want. Okay. Or same things. Well, there's IMAP. So I can do a graphic dashboard of a company pops up. So there's lots of features here, or there's for example, an interactive map of my portfolio. So there's my portfolio as a pie chart. Don't have a lot of companies in it, but nonetheless, see how I'm doing today. So long story short, the nice feature of this, or add research, I can add, like, for example, analyst research on here onto the template. So I can edit it in a lot of different ways. So play around with it, find which one works best for you. I wouldn't go too crazy, but like I said, the buy side template is a pretty good, simple template for tracking stocks, as is the sell side one, as is the, like I said, where's the templates? And again, I can create a new worksheet here, the templates, as is the performance heat map. And just whatever you think helps you play around with it. But like I said, the nice thing I like about the sell side equity is over here on the right, it does have the information on the corporate news and events already plugged in here, which I find to be useful. Other questions? All right. So since I'm showing you Bloomberg, I want to show you a couple of other things that may be useful as you start the trading competition. Most of this, again, is in your Bloomberg certification. So as you're going through the Bloomberg certification, Bloomberg will introduce you to some of these concepts. But remember, if you're ever on a screen, you don't know what to do, just click on the help button and it will give you help page, and it will give you help on the page that you're in. So for example, here's the help on the worksheet page, what you can do with it. Right? But what I'm going to also show you is a feature called EQS, which stands for the Equity Screening Tool. This is actually going to be a future assignment you're going to have to do, but it's something you might want to be aware of as you start the Bloomberg trading competition. Over here on the left are your save screens. Over here on the right is your ability to use Bloomberg as a screening tool. And so there are 1.57 million shares or different equities that you can screen on in Bloomberg, of which 99,000 of them are actively traded stocks of the primary security of a company, as opposed to multiple share classes. So just as an example, I can use these screening criteria up here by drilling down the menu, or it's got this nice little add criteria menu bar. So let's say I want to screen on the S&P 500. So start typing in S&P, and it shows me the criteria. And one of the criteria is the S&P 500 index. Okay. So I'm going to basically add that criteria. So that's going to narrow my universe of stocks down to 505. And you might say to yourself, gee, I thought there were 500 stocks in the S&P 500. Why is it showing 505? That would be a great question. And the reason is because there are 5 dual listed stocks in the S&P 500. Alphabet/Google is one of them. They have a class A share and a class C share. So both classes of stock are part of common stock, are part of the S&P 500 index, even though they're one company, Google/Alphabet. So just saying there are 5 companies that are dual listed, have more than one class of common stock in the S&P 500. So technically there's 505 securities in this 500 company index. Anyways, I'm down to these 500 companies. And then I want to add a screening criteria to this list, further screen. So I click on that. And then the criteria that I want to add next is companies that have an ROIC. Click on ROIC. And it's going to say, what type of ROIC do I want? I'll say greater than 20%. And enter. And so there are 95 companies in the S&P 500 who in the latest year reported an ROIC greater than 20%. Okay. Now I'm going to add another criteria that says, okay, let's do growth. And what I'm going to look at is revenue growth year over year. So again, same thing, that are growing faster than 15% per year. Now, Bloomberg is also going to say and or for my criteria. Now, if I use the logical and, then it's going to actually say 20% ROIC and 15% growth. If I use the or, it's going to say 25% ROIC or the 15% growth, which would be a much larger selection of stocks because it means they can meet either criteria, where the and means they have to hit all of the criteria. So I'll use and, which will then take my 95 companies down to 47. Okay. And then I'm going to hit a criteria, which I used in the last class, called bull beta. And I want my bull beta to be greater than 2. And I'm going to make this an and criteria, which when I do, it's going to take that list down to 7 companies. So there are 7 companies in the S&P 500 that have an ROIC greater than 20. They're growing more than 15% per year, and they have a bull beta greater than 2. And you might say, gee, what is a bull beta? I'm only familiar with the concept of beta. So again, as a beta reminder, beta basically tells you how much a stock moves with the underlying index, usually the market index. So for example, a company has a beta of 1, it's moving up and down equally with the market over time, historically. If a company has a beta greater than 1, it means it's going up faster than the market, it's going down faster than the market on an average day. Okay, beta less than 1 doesn't go up as fast, doesn't go down as fast. What bull beta does is it excludes all of the down days when it calculates beta. So it basically says only on up days. How does this stock do relative to the market on only up days? And so companies with a bull beta greater than 2 are going up even faster when the market goes up. So basically, if I believe we're heading for a bull market, a bull beta is, these are the stocks that are likely to move most in a bull market. Same thing with a bear beta. A bear beta excludes all the up days when it does the calculation. and it only looks at the down days. So for example, if a stock's got a high bear beta, that means it's going down much faster than the average company on a down day. Okay, so if I think we're in a bear market, bear betas can identify shorts, bull betas can identify some companies to go long. All right, so of the volatile S&P 500 7, these 7 companies have the bull beta of 2. They tend to go way up on good days. Who are they? See my results. It is these 7 companies: Moderna, Autodesk, MasterCard, Vertex, Eli Lilly, Visa, and Etsy. Right. And so the point is, if I'm looking for stocks that are pretty much the bull market stocks, when we're in a bull market, here are some companies to consider based on historical data. And then I could go to the trading competition and trade them. If I want to save this as a reusable screen, then I can save the screen. Okay, here or here. If I save my screen, let's say I call this bull beta, when I update it, it will show up here on the left. And then every time I click on that, it will give me that index. Okay, but again, questions about any of this? All right. Let's say that I want to use other criteria. So for example, I'm going to get rid of this bull beta criteria. I'm going to get rid of these 2 criteria. And again, I can go through this here, but let's just say I'm concerned about the US-China trade war. Okay. So what I could do is I could say, okay, let's look up China, or sorry, let's look up revenue. And when I start searching for revenue, I'm going to look at geographic segment revenue. So I'm looking at companies that have a segment revenue percent in the latest year, revenue percent greater than the latest year, that are exposed to, puts China here, Greater China region, China, there we go. So that have a revenue percent in the latest year greater than 15. So are there any companies in the S&P 500 index that have more than 32%, or sorry, more than 15% of their revenue tied to China? There are 32 companies. So if I'm thinking about seeing the results, these are the companies that are probably going to be much more impacted by any trade war between the US and China, because they have a much higher proportion of their revenue tied to China. So for example, 67% of its revenue of Qualcomm is tied to China, right? So if things start getting really ugly between the 2 countries, I come here and I can start doing some searches associated with that. Same thing, who's tied to Russia right now, right? And I can like see around the world to see which companies are tied to huge revenues with Russia. If sanctions actually get applied, these are the companies that might be hurt. So different ways that I can start to execute trading strategies, but this is called the equity screening tool, very powerful feature of Bloomberg, and something as you're starting your Bloomberg trading challenge might help you come up with some trade ideas. Questions about any of that? Okay, final thing about Bloomberg. Let's go to RV. This was your homework 1. Should have been a very easy homework 1. You basically needed to go to custom, add column, ROIC, latest year, and then you would have had to do WACC. And then you would have had to basically save this template and find an industry with a negative spread, market cap, weighted average. And so basically you could have done, we did them in class, airlines, I believe oil and gas, you could have done automobiles, a lot of different industries, But the point is you need to find an industry with a negative spread. Save it, submit the screenshot, right? Now, several people said, but they noticed that I used the concept of spread in my screenshot, and they couldn't replicate this, right? And the reason why is if you type in spread, is because spread is a custom field. And so this is another feature you learn about in Bloomberg, but a very powerful feature of the tool is the ability to create what they're named custom fields, which means they're unique to your account, as opposed to Bloomberg fields, which are standard to all accounts. Okay, so how does one create a custom field like spread? Two areas in Bloomberg you can create custom fields, either in RV, which is where I am right now, or EQS. Those are the two areas you can create and use custom fields. This little gear icon is how you create a custom field in the RV screen. So what you're going to do is you're going to add a formula. So actually, okay. So when you click on add a formula, it's going to bring us a screen that looks just like this. So on the left-hand side are any custom fields you have previously created in the database. And one of the nice features about custom fields is you can actually use custom fields to create other custom fields. So you can kind of build on your custom fields, right? But that being said, yours will be blank the first time you go here. And it's in this big block where you type in your custom formula, which you probably won't know how to do. So this is where field helps you, okay? So let's say that I want to calculate a spread custom field. So in field, I start typing in ROIC, return on invested capital. And then I choose latest year. When I hit enter, ROIC latest year is string RR710:Y. So that's the Bloomberg database field, and that's the current latest year, Y-1, 2, 3, etc. So I don't need to know this. I type in the friendly name here. And when it puts it in here, it gives me the friendly name at the bottom. Okay. And then minus field whack, hit enter, string VM011. So that's ROIC, latest year, minus current whack. That's my custom field. Okay. Now, when I'm ready, I can then save my custom field or save and use it. When I hit save, it's going to pop it over here on the left. Now I've created 4 versions of spread. Okay, but nonetheless, I either save it or save and use. So in this case, if I then go to add column, this is my spread. When I hit enter for a custom field, then it will pop up. Right? So the way that you actually create a custom field is you create it here in the custom field and save it in your account. Now again, let's say I was trying to do this assignment and I had spread as a custom field. I can go back to EQS, the equity screening tool, and I said find an industry that had a negative spread. So you could take in your criteria spread. So spread is my custom field. I could say spread less than 0. And so that would have given me in the S&P 500, that would have given me these 229 companies that had a negative spread last year in the S&P 500. So I could have quickly put in a, or if I wanted to type in industry, I could have put in, for example, a industry classification. No condition. So that way, when I went to my custom results, it would show me not only the companies that had a negative spread, but it would show me the industries that they were in. So that way I could go through this and I could actually quickly find the negative spread industries. So again, just kind of giving you some advanced features as you're going through the trading competition. All right. Again, questions, comments, concerns about any of this? How often do we have to trade our stock? Minimum 10 trades first half of the semester, must make at least 5 of those trades, or at least be $700,000 invested by end of day Friday, and stay that way through the end of the semester. And by the way, you might ask myself, how do I stay above 700,000 in equities if I sell a stock? Well, if you're going to sell it, you got to buy something else at the same time. You can't just go to cash after Friday. You will be disqualified as a team, and you will get a 0 for your trading challenge, right? So when do we submit a screenshot to our preference on format? The answer is yes. The format preference that I have is in the upper right-hand corner of Bloomberg. There is the preferred way of doing this is in this little square with a green arrow, export screenshot, save the screenshot, save it as the GIF file and submit that. That is the preferred way to do it. All right, any other questions? All right, this is about where I got to with the first class. I wanted to start EIC, which is lecture note 2, which is your next homework assignment, by the way, for Monday. We're going to do that on Wednesday's class. So Wednesday, we're going to cover EIC. All right, today, I want to end a few minutes early, give you some time back, start talking to your teams about the trading competition. Okay. So unless there's any other questions, I'll see everybody Wednesday morning, ready to talk about lecture note 2 and EIC. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Professor Perfetti,
Yes.
I sent you an email over the weekend about having trouble with my Bloomberg access. So basically, I've done all the steps and I've also received the approval email from you. But for some reason, when I input the username that was given to me on my portal, it says that there isn't a valid terminal username. So I sent you the screenshots attached to my email. I'm not sure if you had a chance to review that email.
Probably not. So I would say 2 things. One, make sure you're using the actual email, meaning if you signed up with a Terp mail, you got to use that when you do your email address, because those are very specific. So it's whatever you signed up for Bloomberg. If that isn't working and you just can't get in with the email, you have to contact Bloomberg support, because once you create the account, they handle access to the actual system.
Okay, yeah, I did that. So I'm able to log into the actual portal for education because I had done this a year ago because I did the certificate a year ago. So I don't know if
That's
that was what
probably
messed up my
why
whole.
they might have timed out your account and your password. So you're going to have to
Okay.
contact Bloomberg support to get access if you were in before.
Okay, so basically the approval email you sent me is pretty much void because I
If
would have to
you
do
had-
the whole thing
yeah,
over
if
again.
you had an account previously to this semester, Bloomberg will basically time the account out by resetting the password after a period of time. And so I won't be able to do anything there. You'll have to contact them.
Oh, okay. Okay. So is there a number or do I just go to like their support
Yeah,
desk?
if you go to the
wherever?
portal, they have a help site number and an email to contact them.
Okay, got it. And then so in terms of that first homework, because again, like I wasn't able to even access Bloomberg, I sent an email over the weekend before it was due
If you
this
send an
morning.
email saying that you had this trouble, then you'll have an extension to basically do it, but try and get it done by Wednesday.
Okay, will do. I'll definitely contact them and then go through the whole process again. Thank you so much.
All right, good luck. All right, bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.